Hello, makers. I am Jen, head of marketing for Making, which is a social marketplace app for makers, crafters, and artists. My pronouns are she, her, and my Making app username is Knit Pearl. We are here at Sacred Sheep doing vendor interviews and also vlogger interviews. Would you like to introduce yourself to everybody watching?
Sure. This is new, like introducing myself in front of somebody else instead of just myself in my living room.
We're flipping the script.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joanna. I am the creative and owner of Stitching the High Notes, which is a YouTube channel as well as an online shop. On YouTube, I share weekly vlogs where I share what I'm currently making, whether it be knitting, sewing, crochet, cross-stitch, woodwork, whatever my creative focus is that week. And then I also share what I'm making for my small business, where I make project bags and create tools and notions for makers like you. And my hope with every vlog, and I'm starting to do travel vlogs and come to Wolf festivals as well, is to encourage and inspire people to embrace their own innate creativity, which doesn't come easy for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
And I believe the best and the easiest way to do that is to make sure you seek out and find joy in your everyday life, or you can stitch the high notes, which is partly where the name came from. As well as I used to be an opera singer, so that's where that came from as well. So
that was going to be a question, but I also figured that it might be answered right out of the gate. That's awesome. Where have you performed? Tell us more about that real quick.
Yeah, so I am now retired at the ripe age of 43, but not really retired. I sang professionally for almost 20 years. I sang with the San Francisco Opera off and on, mainly with the chorus, a few solo roles there, and as well as at the San Francisco Symphony for many years as a professional member of their chorus. And then gigging, and doing all of that around there. And but I loved it, but I'm a morning person. So the 14, 17-hour days sometimes during the holidays were really getting to me. And I was always working a 9 to 5. I worked in the arts nonprofit field for many years as a fundraiser up until just recently, actually. So I was ready to make a shift. And luckily, knitting came into the scene about 7 or 8 years ago.
Let's talk about your journey as a maker. So about 7 or 8 years ago, you picked up knitting, but was making and crafting like always in your life through your family and such?
Always, yeah.
Awesome.
My grandmother and my mother were seamstresses. They had their own businesses at certain points in their life. My first love, and kind of still is to some extent, is cross-stitch. Nice. So I started out with that, and then I picked up knitting really hardcore in about 2015 because I was doing a lot of those holiday shows, and I was sitting around in between rehearsals, and I wanted to get off my phone. So I learned knitting, and I fell in love. And I fell in love with the community, because that's when it started to really become a thing on the internet and online. And I thought I'd dip my toe into the YouTube world because I love filmmaking. I love storytelling through art, whatever the medium is. Yeah,
we feel that too, for sure. So who taught you how to knit?
YouTube.
Perfect.
Very Pink Knits. I think I did some Creative Bug lessons as well. And then I had some friends who would fill in the blanks in person, go to local yarn shops as well.
Yeah.
But I'm such a visual learner. I'm very lucky that YouTube at that time was around, that I could kind of learn from there.
Yeah. What was the first thing that you ever knit?
I'm a go big or go home kind of gal. So it was a lace work scarf that I think I made through one of those Creative Bug or something akin to that courses.
Nice.
And on like wooden, standalone needles. I hadn't tried the circulars yet. And when I discovered those, my world opened up. Like, high note there. Right? But yeah.
I was wondering if you were going to sing at all. Yeah.
Can't help it.
That's awesome. Okay, so you just announced that you're now a full-time creative entrepreneur. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love it. So tell us what you're working on, what your future plans are, and like the North Star goals.
Oh, man. Well, put it out there, manifest it, as they say.
It's true. We do a lot of manifesting at Making.
I believe it.
And it's, for sure.
So the big goal, I think, is to continue to grow my YouTube channel and continue vlogging, more community organization as well. And I think that's the heart and soul of Stitching the High Notes is storytelling, sharing stories, not just my path as a maker, but sharing other makers as well. So I'm starting to do a bit more of that, as well as I love meeting the folks, which I did at Rhinebeck. I did a little bit at Lambtown in Dixon just in earlier October. Is meet the farmers and the people that make the textiles that we love and use. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting more into that. But the big dream, I think, is to continue to have an online shop and have a brick and mortar, but really like a community space, a maker space, if you will, but it incorporates all creativity. So I'd love it to have a stage and have piano recitals there, for teachers to be there. We can have couches and have Zoom meetings, because I have a lovely international audience and crew so that they can be involved as well. And then continue to sell. I love making bags. I love curating fabrics and stuff like that, but I want to make them even more special and higher quality as I continue to hone my skills as a sewist as well. So that's where I'm working towards, and also incorporating more of my business side too, because I worked as a associate director in fundraising for so many years, and in the creative field. So I feel like I've already helped out a lot of my friends who have creative businesses. So kind of opening that branch as well. So typical entrepreneur.
Yeah, just a few things, That's Okay, so you've got your go-to craft. I know you're multi-craft. We'll say knitting.
Yes.
You've got your knitting.
Yes.
You're sitting down to do like a marathon crafting session. What is the perfect setup for you?
Oh, gosh, I love this question. So like how I have my setup. Okay.
Yeah.
On my couch.
Okay.
With my basket next to me.
Yes.
I love YouTube. Like, I know I'm talking a lot about it, but I love YouTube. I love reaction videos. It's like my favorite thing. I am a huge nerd, and I love Critical Role, which is a Dungeons & Dragons streaming game that has been on for 8 or 9 years now.
Okay.
So that's where I honed a lot of my skills, was just knitting. They're like 4 or 5 hour games.
Oh my gosh.
I just like it's blitz. So having that on, I think, would be great. I think having, friends, maybe a man next to me as I knit along, just setting the scene. I mean, we're manifesting. We're manifesting. And all my favorite notions as well, like just having them, right next to me is so vital. Like I love Coco Knits, so any of their kind of accessories as well. But I think that's really the scene at home. Yeah. First and foremost. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like a drink or a snack?
Oh, sparkling water.
Yeah.
I don't drink anymore, but sparkling water.
Sparkling water is
Especially
perfect.
if I'm watching Critical Role, it'll be like in a dragon goblet thing. Red Bear. That's like extra.
Perfect.
And snacks, it's you don't want to get your hands too messy, but I like gummy kind of stuff. So I really I found this really good. It's just mango. But they make it satisfies the gummy bear.
Just like a dried mango. Okay. Well, now I'm hungry. Okay. If somebody is possibly looking to jump into more long form content, for YouTube, and I mean other TikTok, I think, is playing with longer form video now too. And I'm just okay, we are one person. We are all one person creating. Calm down.
So much.
But if somebody's looking to jump into more longer form content, it can be kind of scary, even if you're used to making short clips and such. So what tips do you have for people who are looking to possibly start a YouTube channel and grow that?
Yeah, I love this question because I get asked it a lot, and I'm just go for it because I'm all about long form. Because it's storytelling, really.
Yeah.
So I think you start from there. You start from what you want to share, what you would want to hear.
Yeah.
And really kind of put yourself as the director, as what would inspire me, and that will instantly click you into what you want to share with others in like the long term. And then just act like you're in that place that I just described. You know, you're sitting and knitting. You can even knit. And just talk like you're at a knitting group. That's what people really, really love. And then you can start to get fancier, and you can add B-roll overlays and things like that. But I just started with my phone. I'm still using my phone here off and on with my fancy camera, and you know, just get out and start and go for it. You know? And it's so easy. They make, you know, the software comes with your computer most of the time. So, and there's so many wonderful tutorials and, you know, things out there that will help you kind of get over that hump. I was just talking to Fiona K Knits, and we were talking about how, like, it's just like with knitting or any other craft, like, you just have to jump in and do it. Don't be afraid of imperfectionisms. And there's always going to be somebody out there who wants to hear what you have to say. You have to remember that as well. Yeah. Because that's the big roadblock as well.
On the podcast, I just talked to an amazing sewist named Terrence Williams.
I saw that.
We love you, Terrence. And one of the things that he said was, it doesn't matter if you have 5 followers or 5,000 followers. There's always going to be somebody who they're following you for a reason.
Absolutely.
And who knows who they're going to tell, right? And then he was like, and then Beyonce knows about you all of a sudden. And I was just like, the look on my face, I was like, oh my God, what if like Beyonce knew about making? It was like
disassociate completely.
I really went into that mode. I just was all of a sudden like, I wasn't there. I was in the world where Beyonce knows about the making app and our podcast. Oh, that's amazing. Anyways.
We love you, Beyonce.
We do. We're just, again, manifestation. Beyonce, do you want to learn how to knit?
Join us.
Join us. When you're not making or crafting or creating videos, what are you doing?
Oh, I am, you know, the first thing that came to my mind is playing video games with my nephew and hanging out with him.
Yay.
I love that kiddo so much. So, and he's learning how to read. So, like, I just went to Powell Books here in Portland, which was like amazing. So I bought him some books. So I'm doing that. I'm also kind of doing a little bit more consulting kind of with fundraising, a little bit of that, kind of testing out the waters. I just left that world, so I'm kind of like, but I really love also inspiring people to find their voice and how they can help others find their, you know, it's like a pay it forward kind of thing. So I'm doing that. But yeah, those are the first things that kind of came to my, honestly, I'm always making something or being creative. It's just me. It's who I am.
Where can everyone find you?
Find me on the Making app as Stitching the High Notes.
Yeah.
I'm also on Instagram as Stitching the High Notes. I'm dabbling in Threads, all of those places. Facebook as well. My website is stitchingthehighnotes.com. And, of course, on YouTube as Stitching the High Notes. I'm on Ravelry as Opera Joe. I would change it to Stitching the High Notes, but it's a little bit too long. But still Opera Joe. I'm going to keep it alive, the opera part of me.
And that's why we have the Making app, because you can have your full username.
I love it. So
cool. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.